Hello EFD squad and welcome to our Europa League final preview. I'm joined by my partner in crime, it's Patrick Van Straten. And this episode is sponsored by Sky Bet. And we're going to be sprinkling some odds throughout, aren't we? Providing these guys with a little extra value. Now we've broken this down into 3 sections, starting with scene setting. You know, you like to provide a bit of colour, don't you? You certainly provide, a lot of colour in my life.
Thanks.
Vibrancy, energy,
Still
positivity.
Still doing synonyms. Cool, so we start with Chelsea and Arsenal in the Azerbaijani capital of Baku for the Europa League final. Now, this is the 3rd time that 2 teams from the same country have met in the Europa League final, but the first time we've had 2 from the same city. So it could be a little bit tasty, which would be interesting. There's never been a red card in the Europa League final, just so you know. Now, Chelsea go into this game as the competition's form side. They're unbeaten this season. They've got 11 wins and 3 draws in their 14 Europa League matches. And they're also the competition's top scorers with 32 goals. That's 5 short of the Europa League record set by Porto back in 2011. Now, that's because they boast the competition's top scorer in Olivier Giroud on 10 goals, actually level with Luka Jovic, and its top assister in Willian, who's got 7 so far. And of course, they were in this competition once before, and it ended with them lifting the trophy back in 2013. So if they do win, then they'll have a 100% record in the competition. And if they win, they'll be the first club ever to win the competition without losing a single game along the way. Ooh. I hope they don't win.
Collector's item. Yeah, and as much as the Europa League is often derided, I think Arsenal fans would welcome a bit of European silverware, having not won any since 1994, and that was the European Cup Winners' Cup.
Big competition. And
you've kind of flailed at various points in this competition. Scares away to Bate Borisov and Rennes, losing to both those teams. But you come to Azerbaijan, Pato, on a 5-match winning streak in the competition. So really coming into form at the business end of this trophy. And you've already won in the Baku Olympic Stadium, which will fill you with confidence. Beating Karabag 3-0 in the group stage. And Lacazette and Aubameyang have been remarkable in this competition together, haven't they? Scoring 10 of Arsenal's 14 knockout stage goals. However, both sides do face significant absences, which does change the complexion of the tie significantly. So Loftus-Cheek and Hudson-Odoi out with Achilles injuries, Rudiger out with a knee injury, Ampadu has done his back, and Kante, which could be really ugly for Chelsea, is reportedly out with a knee injury. Cahill missing out too. Arsenal are missing Ramsey, Dennis Suarez, what a servant he's been, Bellerin, Holding, and possibly Welbeck as well with an ankle injury. Could have made an impact from the bench, that man Welbs. Henrik Mkhitaryan, we all know by now why he can't travel, and it's pretty inexplicable, but he won't be there to help them across the line either. Now, we do have some odds on the first goal scorer. So we've got Hazard at 4-1. You can get those odds with Sky Bet. This is valid at the time of filming and is subject to change. And you must be 18 or over. T's and C's do apply. And for the latest odds and for more information, visit www.skybet.com. Let's move on to key men.
Now, for Chelsea, the danger man is pretty obvious. It's got to be Eden Hazard. Now, he is expected to complete a €100 million move to Real Madrid this summer. And so you'd imagine he'll be very keen to win a trophy in his final game as a Blue. Now, back in 2013, he did win the Europa League with Chelsea, though he missed the final. And actually, 4 other players remain in the Chelsea squad who were in the squad for Chelsea that day. Cahill, David Luiz, Azpilicueta, and Victor Moses, who's listed as a forward in that match. While, of course, Petr Cech played in that game, and he is likely to start for Arsenal. Now, this season in the Premier League, Eden Hazard was absolutely incredible. 16 goals and 15 assists. That's 31 goal involvements, more than any other Premier League player. But in 7 Europa League appearances this season, just 1 assist to his name. However, I think that's probably a little bit of bad luck as opposed to poor performances. In limited minutes, he leads the tournament in completed dribbles per 90 with an insane 7.7, Adama Traore vibes. And he makes 4.3 chances per 90 for Chelsea, which makes him kind of the primary ball progressor and creator for Sarri's side, which is good in a sense. You've got one of the best players in the world. But on the other hand, Arsenal kind of know that if they can stop him, they've got a huge advantage.
Now, those numbers are ridiculous for someone that wasn't really taking the tournament seriously until the latter stages.
Well, true.
Wasn't even included, sorry.
And I mean, he always fancies it against Arsenal as well. In 15 matches against the Gunners, he's got 8 wins and 7 goal involvements. So you imagine he'll be confident of ending his career in London on a high. Yeah, I'm a little bit fearful about this.
I mean, you have some pretty sizable weapons of your own, don't you?
Mustafi, huge weapon, absolute weapon.
Jam jar head himself. No, I'm talking out Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who is on 8 goals in the competition. The Gabonese forward contributing to one every 84.5 minutes, which is a pretty amazing rate, but surprisingly not as good as Lacazette, who has done so every 80 minutes. Now, in his last 4 games in all competitions, Oba has 7 goals and an assist, including that hat-trick in the second leg of the semi against Valencia. Now, in fact, he's got 20 goal contributions in his last 21 Europa League matches for Arsenal and Borussia Dortmund combined, almost as if he finds the tournament rather easy, which his underlying numbers do back up. 4.6 shots per game, 3.3 from inside the box. However, has never scored against Chelsea. So can he rewrite history in this 90? Can he banish those Blues? Only time will tell. And I'm getting a call. It's from all the fans. And they're saying, Chris, we need a request a bet from Sky Bet, something a little bit out there, something a little bit more interesting before you discuss your potential man of the match. And we've gone for this. Hazard and Ozil to have 1 or more shots on target each at 7-2. Of course, again, valid at the time of filming, is subject to change. You've got to be 18 and over. T's and C's do apply. And for the latest odds and information, visit skybet.com. Worth a punt, in my opinion. I mean, I certainly think Hazard will get there. Ozil's not exactly a shot monster, but more influential in the Europa League this season than any other competition for Arsenal, I would say. Doesn't say much about his Premier League form. But man of the match, okay. Where do you see this game being won and lost?
In a way, it's a pity that Kante isn't playing, because every time Ozil plays against Kante, he absolutely schools him. So I would have liked to have gone for Mesut Ozil, but I think actually Kovacic will probably play that Kante role, like buzzing about and making tackles, and for Arsenal it would be Torreira. So I think whoever has the better game out of those two will probably deserve it. So I'm going to go... I think Kovacic will actually have a really good match.
And then just go back to Real Madrid and fester on the bench for a whole season.
Yeah, exactly. So lastly, we're going to talk about what this final could mean for the two managers. Now, they go into the game with almost identical records this season. Sarri boasts a 61.3% win rate over his first season at Stamford Bridge, while Emery is at 61.4%.
Pretty good.
Now, I think Chelsea actually have less riding on the result. That's pretty clear, right? They've already qualified for the Champions League through the league. They can't really make big transfers anyway, so the prize money isn't going to mean that much to them. But I think Sarri's position is still more precarious than Emery's. He obviously guided Chelsea to 3rd, which was ahead of Champions League finalist Spurs. Only lost the League Cup final on penalties to a Man City side, which went on to win the domestic treble. And to anybody else, that would kind of mean job security and a really successful season. But it's the failure of the Italian to make a connection with the Chelsea fans that I think has been a real problem
and the
for
press.
them.
He's being absolutely hounded by the English press.
I know, and I don't really get it, because I feel like he's doing what... Look, there have been issues. So I think when he was trying to fix the attack earlier in the season, he actually made it worse by putting Hazard at a false 9. Obviously used Kante in a more advanced role, which I don't think has shown the best of the Frenchman. And then that predictable substitution where he would just swap out, Barkley, Loftus-Cheek, Barkley. And Chelsea fans were just kind of shouting, you don't know what you're doing, after they lost 6-0 to Man City, after they lost 4-0 to Bournemouth. This was back in January. That was when they went on a real tear and were just losing every week, and Arsenal beat them comfortably at the Emirates. But I think that this is a kind of chance for redemption for Sarri. Like, he did pull the iron out of the fire in the back half of the season. Yep. If he wins, it'll be the first major trophy of his career. It'll actually make him the oldest manager to win the Europa. Do you know who it is currently?
Oh, Trapattoni.
It is Jose Mourinho with Man United. And I think it would make a compelling argument for his continued employment at Stamford Bridge as well. Though, as we understand it, that may already be fait accompli. We may see Frank Lampard coming in regardless.
Done, sir.
Yeah. So anyway, Juventus and Roma interested in hiring him. He could see this as a little bit of an audition for his next position. But Arsenal are in a really different situation.
Yeah, Arsenal's campaign has been littered with inconsistencies despite a very strong start. So that 22-match unbeaten run during autumn, which was extremely favourable, extremely lucky, wasn't it, when you took a closer look at their numbers. That kind of set them on course for UCL qualification. People's expectations were raised. Arsenal fans were singing, "We've got our Arsenal back." Cringe. And despite ending the year with the third best home form in the league, they actually rank 8th for away form. Still awful on the road, which is the case under Arsene Wenger, wasn't it? So 8 defeats and only 7 wins. And I think you told me prior to coming on here that is worse than Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Sickening. So that saw them finish outside the top 4 for the 3rd year running, and deservedly so. Listen, progress has been made and Arsenal fans should be positive, but I don't think this current squad are ready for Champions League football, apart from the forward unit, which is very coherent, isn't it? But Emery is a Europa League specialist, isn't he? So despite Chelsea being the superior side, let's not discount them too heavily. Now, he's won finals against Benfica, against Dnipro, what a vintage final that was, and Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool between 2014 and 16 to lift the trophy 3 times in a row. And he's managed, Pato, 75 Europa League games. That's 20 more matches in the competition than any other coach, and he's won 45 of those. That's mightily impressive. That works out to about 60%. And he finishes the season having really won the Arsenal execs over, extremely happy with the job that he's done, and he's sort of won the majority of fans over, but also winning over new suitors, Pato. Apparently, according to Mundo Deportivo, he's on a 4-man shortlist to replace Ernesto Valverde at Barcelona. Can you imagine the scenes? I, for one, hope he stays, just so Roberto Martinez ends up as head coach at Barcelona.
Can you imagine?
Can you imagine Sean Maloney of ex-Wigan, ex-Celtic fame, coaching Lionel Messi? Oh, all would feel right in the world. I'm going to ask you, as the Arsenal fan, for your score prediction. Your opinion matters more than mine in these scenarios.
We've been very good in the Europa League. We've been very, very good. Home and away wins against Valencia, home and away wins against Napoli in the last 2 rounds. And in the round before that, it was kind of a red card, which saw us lose against Rennes. So I do think we've got enough to get it done, depending on who shows up in our front line. So I'm going to go for 2-1 Arsenal. Now, you can, through Sky Bet, get odds of 10-1 on that. That's obviously valid at the time of filming and subject to change. You have to be over 18 to use that. Terms and conditions do apply. And for the latest odds and more information, you need to visit skybet.com. What do you reckon the score will be?
Oh, there's been, turmoil in Chelsea's camp of late, so of course they're going to win.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
So I'm going to go for 3-1 Chelsea and Eden Hazard masterclass. But what are your score predictions? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this, then stay tuned tonight for our Europa League watch-along. And of course, our Champions League preview coming later in the week on Euro Football Daily, with another watch-along on Saturday. It's all kicking off, isn't it, Pat?
Oh yeah, big time.
Like and subscribe. Bye.
Bye.